Customer feedback is not exactly an exciting theme for a party. So how do you build excitement and awareness around your company's CX program?
These types of events is a really good thing for companies to just make that engagement and really drive that relationship with customers and emphasize that experience.
Building awareness for your CX program through company or employee events that feature your customer feedback. On this episode of the CX Leader Podcast.
The CX Leader Podcast with Steve Walker is produced by Walker, a business consulting firm that helps our clients unlock the potential of their customer experiences by placing the customer at the heart of all their business decisions. You can find out more at walkerinfo.com.
Hello everyone, I'm Pat Gibbons, Senior Vice President and Principal here at Walker and guest host of the CX Leader Podcast, and thank you for listening. On the CX Leader Podcast, we explore topics and themes to help leaders like you leverage all the benefits of customer experience and help your customers and prospects want to do more business with you. A common theme we often encounter here on the podcast is the struggle of CX professionals to bring excitement and buy-in across various functions and stakeholders within a company. Customer experience programs work best when everyone is not only aware of, but engaged in the program. So how do you motivate everyone to adopt your strategies? How do you make customer feedback exciting enough to make your employees or peers want to pay attention? Well, luckily, we have someone here in the studio with experience in creating corporate or employee events designed to bring better awareness to your CX efforts. He's going to share some of those insights as part of our Best Practice podcast series. Derek Mobley is Associate Vice President here at Walker. Derek, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this is great. This topic of events is really unique. You know, I think there are a lot of customer experience professionals that do a lot of things to try to get awareness and everything, but I think this is one that gets overlooked. So I'm really excited to explore this today. So when we talk about events, let me start and frame this. Tell us like a little bit about these events. We're talking about corporate events. Give us a feel for what they're like.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot more of these events, just I think in the tech sector in particular. It's a great way for these companies to engage with customers, to have exciting speakers and really roll out the red carpet, so to speak, for these customers. As a part of that, they have these exhibition halls, and it's a great way to demo new products. It's a great way to sort of market to these existing clients and the new and cool things that these companies are doing. And in the tech space with innovation, there's a lot of it. And so it's a lot of fun, and there's laser shows and different colors on the carpet and different neat ways to market. And as a result of that, have a really engaged group of people, and it makes for an exciting way to interact with customers.
Yeah. So, I think we've heard of some of the big ones, like Dreamforce. Salesforce's big thing, and they got bands and all kinds of stuff. But it's not just those companies. It's even some of the smaller tech companies are getting into this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those that have these big 1,000, 10,000, 15,000 plus audiences that come to these conferences, they get a lot of the pub. But even those smaller ones that might have 1,000 or even less, they really give that intimate connection in those places where individual employees that maybe don't interact with customers as much, maybe they're executives and don't necessarily have that customer face-to-face. It's a great place to connect. And as a result of that, I think that these becoming more popular, these types of events, is a really good thing for companies to just make that engagement and really drive that relationship with customers and emphasize that experience that, hey, doing business with us, we might be a tech company and providing widgets or whatever it is, but it's fun and it's exciting and it's separating us from our competitors.
Yeah, it's a time for them to show their sizzle.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just tech companies anymore. It could be a manufacturer, it could be anything under the sun, but let's get people together, let's show them a good time, let's get them excited about what we do.
Exactly.
It's an experience. Hey, go figure.
Yeah, you're creating fans, right?
Right? Exactly. So now let's bring it into the CX world. I think we can think about these events, but what's the role for a CX professional? How do they look at this? Hey, here's a place where we can get some attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good question. And the thing about it, and not to oversimplify it, but when you have a concentrated group of customers all in one place, it's a perfect opportunity for the CX professional to engage them. You've got an audience of customers that clearly they're above the normal engagement maybe you have in the fact that they've come to some location, have flown, have traveled, and made arrangements and preparations, pulled themselves out of their normal role to come and be a part of this event. They're there, they have this engagement, and they're looking to be able to talk and interact already. So for the CX professional, you have in front of you the perfect audience to engage with and collect feedback from.
Yeah. So some of them, whether it's an opportunity to gather feedback or they put a booth together or, I know you've been involved in a number of these. You're kind of one of the in-house experts in this. Give us some examples of some of the things you've seen or some of the things that you've been involved in.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun because it gives me a reason to work with our design group and kind of get out of my normal experience. I love helping our clients, but every once in a while it's good to branch out and do things that are different. And these companies have these creative groups, but they're putting on these massive events. And a lot of times customer experience, they're looking to do something that's clever and engaging. Maybe it's even analog, especially in the tech sector. And I don't mean to keep going back to that, but they're doing so many exciting things that are digital based that analog starts to stand out. Well, you have a creative group at these companies that are already so busy. Walker's able to really come in and take some of that off of them. And we have a design group that's just incredible at this. So we've done things like creating an analog bar chart where we have this big, beautiful board. We're asking a question. I've explored and found, these wonderful sticker companies that exist to go out and, you have customers that are out there, and putting these stickers on charts. And it's amazing how much they enjoy doing that because it's a creative way. And they're saying, hey, look at this company wanting to hear from me in this creative and engaging way. So that's fun. Simple things like a customer listening lounge. People are on their feet a lot during these events. Put out some couches, a comfortable place to come and sit down and have a conversation with them. Grab an iPad and you can jot down notes. And so things as simple as that. Creative games. I've seen matching games. I do those with my kids. You're flipping over cards and trying to remember where they're at and just exposing those facts about how a company listens. Because what you're building in this is you're building in a display of the engagement that you have with this feedback that's going to lead these customers to be more likely to respond and provide that feedback in the future. So as you're demonstrating that awareness, doing it in clever ways is a lot of fun. This most recent one that I was at, we used data strings. And I had a little bit of a hard time visualizing this.
Yeah, I want to see how you explain this.
Definitely leaned on the creative team for this. But so essentially what we did is we took string and we started out, we had 6 questions over the span of this wall. And we worked with a wonderful group that was located where this conference was, that was the production group. And they did a wonderful job putting this together. So they had these pegs sticking out next to a scale label, essentially, for all of these questions. And we'd weave this string for each respondent or each customer that came up to the booth and would do that just repeatedly. And we ended up with this visual that was almost a piece of art in which you're able to see the trends really stick out of how customers are engaging. And the questions weren't, we weren't asking overall experience, or things like that. But what we were asking was, hey, what's your favorite solution? These questions that are a little bit more engaging and conversational almost, and created a lot of buzz as a result of that. And we were left with this really cool, like I said, almost piece of art.
Yeah, I think I've seen, some of these developed. I'm trying to think on Google. I think it's just string art or something, conference string arts. If you Google it, there's a number of them out there, and they're fascinating because you're right. It is artwork, but it's data.
It is.
It's a really interesting way to display data. So I guess what I'm taking from this is you're trying to combine a couple aspects. You're trying to get some real feedback, right? You're trying to really understand what's on the customer's mind. You're trying to do it in a way that is engaging and kind of fun. And so it's more than just entertainment,
right?
But that's part of the show, right?
It's
part of the sizzle. But it's also asking some questions that really draw them in and show that you care.
Right. And as a part of that, and to kind of take a half step back, we would, as we were doing this visualization with this string, a colleague of mine was there with me and was on the iPad. And so he's collecting all this data so that we left with data and insights for the company. And what a cooler way. You're engaging with customers, showing them that you care, showing them how important the feedback is, plus you leave with data. I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah. So we were talking beforehand, before we started recording. You had a great story about interaction with an executive. Why don't you share that?
Yeah, so this was really cool. This is maybe my favorite part of this most recent event. So throughout, we're there early. So before the exhibition hall opens to customers, you have people coming around and, they're like, oh, cool, this is a big blank wall, right? And so we're trying to tell them, yeah, it's going to look really great once we're done. And well, a little later on, we go a couple days into the event and kind of had a little, quieter time. People are off in their various breakouts, and an executive came by and struck up a conversation with him, and he's looking at it, and he's like wanting to know more information. And so I started explaining it to him. And this particular client, they have a couple of different business lines, and one is sort of their primary focus right now, kind of an emerging area of their business. And he was blown away that, yes, that area was seen as very important or impactful to their customers, but sort of their legacy line of business that has kind of, I don't say it's been an afterthought, but it hasn't been the primary area of focus lately, was actually more highly rated than this other emerging area. And he was blown away by it. And of course, I'm sure most of the podcast listeners know that we are partnered with Qualtrics. And so we are capturing this data on the Qualtrics platform. So I just pulled out my phone real quick and pulled up the Qualtrics platform with the data that we've been capturing. I said, yeah, it's right here.
Right there.
The strings show it, but I can actually show you the hard data. And he was so engaged by it and wanted to take it back to his teams that he actually took a picture of my phone of the data. So what was cool about that, and I think kind of the point of the story is that we were showing to different areas of the organization that I'm sure had awareness that this company had this CX initiative and it was important to the fabric of the organization. If it wasn't important, they wouldn't have had this booth at the event. But seeing that it was important, they then begin to realize, hey, this matters to us. And there's some learning here just in this 3-day event for us to take back and do something with.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting point because we talk so much about this being about the customer and about engaging the customer and drawing them in and getting the sizzle out there. But a lot of it is what you can do with that data afterwards to take it back to the organization, right?
Right, absolutely. So it's kind of humorous, I guess, as an outcome of that. People started hearing about this. News travels fast, right? And so, we started giving access to the data to different people, and it begins to become, this is important. We have this insight, and now as a result of that, they're engaged not only in the data we collected at the conference, but asking, hey, what about that other program, right, that we have running in this part of the business? Or, hey, could we do this somewhere else? Hey, how can we take this, out wider and engage even globally with other parts of the business still?
Right. So many benefits. I mean, with the customers, you're gaining awareness, you're gaining credibility. With employees, you're gaining some great insights to better serve those customers. You're getting more awareness internally for CX program. Just a lot that can be gained by doing something with a little bit of fun and sizzle. So
exactly,
that's great.
Right.
That's great. Well, now there's another application for this, and I think it's only less than 4 months away.
Yeah.
Tell us about, because you've been involved in some of this. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so some folks that are listening are probably familiar with CX Day. So it's put on by CXPA, and it's a great reason to drum up awareness internally within your organization about your CX initiatives, about your CX programs, and helped various clients with with events centered around CX Day. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, from cool speakers that they've had come in to just blow out parties and giving away swag and those different sorts of things. And where they've had Walker come and support them. And really, I should have made this point earlier, this is a credit to our clients. Yeah. These clients that do such a good job of listening to their customers, they want to engage with them. They want to demonstrate how important hearing from their customers are, because this really is impacting their business. So as a result of that, they want to show that to their employees, and CX Day gives that reason to do it. So coming up October 1st, for those listening, but as a result of that, so when you have your employees then that are focused on this, you can do these same types of creative works to engage your employees, to get them talking about what CX is. I was out one time at one of these events around CX Day, and I can't tell you how many. I was young in my career at Walker, and so many people are coming up to me now. Who are you? Who's Walker? And I was standing next to our president at the time, and I was a young employee. I was really trying not to blow it as I was describing what Walker is. But it was cool for them to say, oh, we have a partnership, right, with these experts in this area. This really is important to us, right? Let's take this and do something more with it. How can it impact my day-to-day job? Because no matter what your role is in your company, you're part of CX, right? What you're doing is having an impact on the customer's experience with you. And so it's a great way to be able to do that. And, all these different ways to listen, these creative ways to listen, these even analog ways to listen, they have an impact and have a place on CX Day too.
Yeah, I think, CX Day is just one of those opportunities. It's just great for companies to be able to do something on that day to get attention within their company to say,
exactly,
hey, this is a big deal. This is all about, our profession, but it's about our customers.
Exactly, right. And, Walker's, our motto, and I'm sure we want to see customers at the heart of every decision. And if you're going to put customers at the heart of your decisions as a company, that's a great thing for you to demonstrate to your employees too.
Excellent. Okay, so we are at the point of the program where we ask the big question.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, this is what we call the take-home value question. Yeah. So if I'm a CX professional, a CX leader in my organization, and I'm listening to this going, boy, events, that sounds really cool. I think that's something I'd like to do. What's your best piece of advice?
My advice is you don't have to make it complicated. A lot of the things that we've done with our customers and with our clients at these events, like I mentioned a couple of times, it's analog. It's meant to be a display that catches the eye, a display that's engaging, and as a result of that the customer leaves with a memory, right? They leave thinking about something. Now, we had giveaways at this, and I like to think each time they do that they're going to say it, but I can't tell you how many customers will come up and take a picture of the wall that we're building, and just say, this is cool. There was one person that came around at this most recent conference FaceTiming somebody, say, look at this, and like it makes us feel good, because we had a part of this, and it makes our clients feel good because they were the ones that, were driving this. But it doesn't, you don't have to complicate it. It can just be these ways to show your customers how much their feedback and their input is valuable to what you're doing as a company.
Yeah. So start small. You can come up with something pretty simple and still have a lot of fun with it and meet those goals of getting awareness, talking about how important it is.
That's right. The important thing is to start.
Well, Derek Mobley is Associate Vice President here at Walker. Derek, thanks for being on the CX Leader Podcast.
Thank you, Pat. My treat.
So if you want to talk about anything you heard on this episode or how Walker can help your business's customer experience, you can contact Steve at steve.walker@walkerinformation.com or myself, Pat Gibbons, at pgibbons@walkerinfo.com. Or call here in the U.S. at 317-843-8890. Don't hesitate to reach out. We love to talk to people about CX. Don't forget to subscribe to the CX Leader Podcast. You can go to walkerinfo.com/podcasts, and you'll find links to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and on our YouTube channel as well. Simply go to walkerinfo.tv to listen. Thank you for listening to the CX Leader Podcast. It's a production of Walker. We're a business consulting firm that can help make customer experience your biggest competitive advantage. And we've been named the 2019 Qualtrics Partner of the Year. Find out more at walkerinfo.com. And we'll see you next time.